You're listening to Ablaze Bible Reflection. Today's passage is Mark chapter 5, verses 1 to 20, read by Isioma. One person, many burdens, living in bondage. The story in Mark 5, verses 1 to 20, introduces us to a man living in deep bondage. From the very beginning, the gospel places us in a dark and terrifying setting. The man comes from the tombs, lives among the tombs, and remains there night and day. This repetition matters. It tells us that his condition is not temporary. The tombs are not a place he visits. They are where he lives, where he exists, and where his daily life unfolds. At the literal level, the passage speaks clearly of demonic possession. The spirits are many and call themselves legion. Jesus delivers the man from overwhelming spiritual captivity. This meaning is real and true, and it must not be ignored. However, Scripture also speaks on more than one level. When read prayerfully, the text opens to another dimension of meaning, one that reflects the lived human condition, chronic sinful life. Habitual sin, addiction, and prolonged inner torment can produce similar effects. This is not sin as a single act, but sin as a state of life. It becomes chronic, normalized, and eventually defining. Life continues, but it no longer flourishes. Existence is reduced to survival. The man's bondage is so severe that no one can restrain him anymore. That word "anymore" is important. It suggests that there was once a time when help was possible, when restraint worked, and when people still had strength to intervene. But over time, the bondage grew stronger than human effort. Chains failed, strength failed. Those who cared for him, especially his family, reached their limit. This is what deep and repeated bondage does. It eventually moves beyond what people can fix on their own. The man cries out night and day and harms himself. His suffering never rests. It turns inward as self-destruction and outward as fear for others. Yet, the gospel does not describe him as evil. It describes him as tormented. Mark invites us to see him not as someone to fear or judge, but as someone in need of mercy and compassion. Everything changes when Jesus appears. The man runs to him, falls down, and bows. No force ever healed him. No restraint ever restored him. But the presence of Jesus brings order where there was chaos. Where human strength failed, divine presence succeeds. This moment reveals a powerful element of salvation. True healing does not come through control, but through grace. When nothing else works, bring them to Jesus. When advice fails, bring them to Jesus. When strength is exhausted, prayer remains. The demons asked Jesus for permission, and this reveals a serious spiritual truth. They entered because a door was opened. What enters by permission often cannot leave without divine authority. When the spirits enter the pigs, their nature becomes clear. They rush into destruction. This is what evil always does. It does not heal. It does not protect. It destroys everything it touches. It never gives life. The pigs also carry symbolic meaning. In that culture, pigs were considered unclean. Evil moves towards what matches its own nature. What truly ruins a person is not something external, but what takes over the heart and the mind. Sin does not remain small. Once welcomed, it seeks control. Human beings are created to be whole. To become divided, to become many instead of one, is a sign of deep inner brokenness. Habitual sin, repeated compromise, trauma, and unhealed wounds fragment the person from within. But Jesus restores what is broken. After the healing, the man is clothed, calm, and thinking clearly. He is whole again. God's love sets him free. Mercy brings life where everything looked dead. Interestingly, the Hebrew word for mercy, Rahman, is related to the word womb, which sounds strikingly close to tomb. The contrast is powerful. A tomb is where destiny is buried. A womb is where life begins. Divine mercy transforms tombs into wombs. What once held death becomes the place of rebirth. This is the work of Christ. He does not merely restrain chaos, he recreates the person. Perhaps we know people whose lives feel similar. We have tried to help them, and they have tried themselves, yet nothing seems to work. Bring them to Jesus. Some struggles cannot be overcome by force, argument, or control. Bring them to Jesus. He calls people out of places that look like the end and gives them life again. God bless you. Stay close to the Word. The Ablaze Team.